Martell. From where do you live?
So originally from Canada, but live in San Francisco.
Okay. And what do you do for a living?
I have a startup called Flowtown.
Yeah.
What Flowtown does is it allows people to understand the right people to give free products to. So we call it gift marketing. So helping companies find the right people to give free products to, and then by giving those products, it obviously creates buzz marketing so that they can get the word out about their new product.
Okay. And where is the money?
So we charge per campaign. So our customers are brands and agencies. We work with companies like VaynerMedia, so Gary Vaynerchuk's agency and a few others, and they use our platform to find and give away thousands of free products from companies like Chewy granola bars to I don't know, just a lot of brands. It's really cool.
So this is like a technological platform?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's a web application, software as a service, SaaS. It's per campaign, not subscription, and usually most agencies use 3 or 4 different licenses. So there's the tool that the agency use, which we help them create the gifts that they're giving away. Yeah, the admin of the campaign, and then there's the part that they use to interact with the social networks, so Facebook and Twitter, and then when the people are identified, they're provided with a URL, and that URL obviously goes to our platform, and it puts them through kind of a workflow for redeeming the gift. So they connect using Facebook or Twitter, and then tell the brand about what address they want the product shipped to, and then if the brand decides, they can actually give it to their friends, so they can choose from Facebook or Twitter which friends also receive the gift for free, and then that creates a viral loop going on.
So, is it profitable?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So, Flowtown's had a cool history. It's 2 years old. We launched a product, so it's 3 different products. It's confusing to a lot of people. Bootstrapped it initially. We built a landing page applications. We believe that a lot of internet marketers, small businesses that were using Google AdWords and Facebook ads were not sending the traffic to a page that was going to convert to a lead. So we felt we could build a better product, launched that, no track, like nobody bought it. Sat back and realized that wasn't going to work. We had built in parallel to that this other tool called Social Discovery, which allowed somebody to take an email address and find all the demographic data, so name, age, sex, location, plus social network data on that email. So and that was a huge success. In 11 months, we grew it to 35,000 businesses in our platform and almost 1,000 monthly subscribers. And last November, we essentially got a cease and desist by Facebook and LinkedIn saying, you can't do this anymore. Yeah, so that was fun.
Was it funded with some investors?
Yeah. So it was great. Is we got the initial social discovery profitable. So within 2 months, actually, we were doing about 20,000 a month revenue, and then we thought, okay, well, we know exactly how to acquire customers. We know what our lifetime value is. Capital is the right decision right now to raise and invest that. So we raised $750K in a debt round from investors like Mitch Capeward, that is Lotus Nodes, and Dave McClure from 500 Startups, and a bunch of other great angels, and and Steve Anderson from Baseline Ventures, so he invested in Twitter, and so they were super supportive. And then 11 months later we get shut down. But that's startup life, right? Here's the way I suggest people do it, and this is what we did. So we knew it was happening, and so the question we asked ourselves, if we were a customer of our service, how would we like to be treated? That was number one. So we had obviously 35,000 businesses using our product. We had paying monthly subscribers. We had API partners that were using our API in their products. They built a lot of integration. So we called all the API partners. We tried to call as many of the paying subscribers, wind that down. And in parallel for a month, we actually went to a whiteboard and realized we're starting from scratch. It's like another startup. And the team and I sat down and figured out 3 ideas that we were passionate about in the social marketing space, because that was kind of what we were known for. And we built 3 prototypes and launched them. So within 2 weeks, that was our constraint. Build something, launch it, and let's see what the market says. Okay. And only after we did that we then told our investors.
So was it according to Lean Startup?
Yeah, everything we've done is all, Eric Reese, I met Eric the first week I moved to San Francisco 3 years ago, before Lean Startup. Yeah. I was there at the, I think it was O'Reilly Web 2.0 conference, where he launched the first Lean Startup talk ever. And he's talking, and I'm like, oh my, like he was just preaching like, so a lot of, I feel like entrepreneurs that have had success do some of the stuff that Eric talks about in the Lean Startup. They just didn't know they were doing it, right? It's like really talented athletes where they work with a coach, and you know they're obviously talented because they do some things really right, and then the coach can say, here are like the 20% you're missing to be excellent. And I feel that's what Eric's done. He's like, here's this framework. Most entrepreneurs maybe do 60% of it, and if you implement the other 40, you can just amplify. So when we had to start from scratch again, absolutely, all 3 products we use a lean startup approach. We validated first the market within a couple days. You know, Ethan and I are both like pretty outward going guys, so we'll pick up the phone and call customers. Built the prototypes, launched them, surveyed the users, looked at what the reaction was, and then we told our investors. So it's pretty interesting because you know the meeting was like, hey, we got shut down. They're like, oh, what are you gonna do now? But wait, here's what we've built, and here's what we think we're gonna work on. And that ended up being the third thing, which I just told you about, which is gift marketing is what we call it, but it's social sampling, or you know, for big companies. You know, luckily I'm an extroverted geek, so I'm a software developer, but I'm also a marketing guy, so I'm more than capable of picking up the phone and talking to customers and just understand what they want. The approach is ask for advice, right? So like if you get on the phone, the first thing is like, hey, you could maybe fib, you could lie, you could say I'm a student at this university, we're doing some research on this industry, we heard about your company. Like just make it up, right? If you're trying to build a service for local restaurants, call up the restaurant and say, hey, I'd love to talk to the manager, I'm a student at the university, I'm doing some research on how small businesses do marketing, love to grab 5 minutes of your time just to answer some questions. And then what's great, and this is the trick that most people don't do, at the end of that call, ask them if there's anybody else you should talk to. Let them give you the referral. Yeah, because then when you call the other guy, it's like, hey John, I was just talking to Mark down the pizza place, he said I should talk to you. Then there's no issues, right? It's like, oh, it's a referral, and you're just, because lean startup, a lot of people forget, it's really just about discovery. It's not about selling, it's not about trying to manipulate somebody, it's really just about trying to understand, do you think there's a problem? If yes, great. Here, how do you solve it today? Cool. Here's a way we think you could solve it. Do you agree? That's it.
Do you see some difference between Eric and Maria, and did they cooperate, or?
You know, I would say in the space there's Ash, there's Steve Blank obviously on the customer development side, and there's Eric. You know, I don't think Eric, even myself, thought that the lean startup would be as big of a global phenomenon that it is today. And you know, what I like about Ash's style and approach is it's more so the way I see it is Eric kind of like preaches to the normal people. Yeah, it's more like out there. It's like, here's some big ideas. Here's why I think that maybe the way we've been doing it is not as efficient as it could be. Here's the vision I see for the world and how it could behave and how startups can innovate. Ash is more, let's build a framework, a tactical kind of like checklist or very specific.
It's very handy.
It's very handy. And my approach, the way I like to look at it is, all those stuffs are really good, but there's really a few things that are less about tactics and more about just like action, right? So I always say, like, what's the riskiest assumptions in my business model? And I always start with that. And I know it's in there somewhere in Ash's material or Steve Blank's, but I really think that's a fundamental, like, it's the best place to start. If I'm gonna fail, it's probably the riskiest thing that I don't choose to validate first. Most engineers like, I'm gonna build it. Well, that's not very risky. You know you can build it. The more important thing is, can you acquire users profitably? And if you have any business deals that need to happen, can you get some of those in place first? Right? Letters of intent, some kind of agreement, contracts, that kind of thing.
What do you plan to talk in your presentation?
Yeah, so today I got a few areas. The thing I like to talk about is, I call it hustling, and I've been trying to find a check word for hustling. I don't think there is. Yeah, so anyways, I changed it to like working your ass off to get traction. Because I think that's the part that entrepreneurs need to have, is this sense of urgency and this sense of, you know, tenacious and just go out there and do it. So I'm going to talk about how to properly understand, does anybody want what you're building? How do you quickly validate your assumptions? And how do you measure your progress to know that you're actually moving forward and not moving backwards? Because that happens a lot, and most startups don't even know that that's happening. My style for presenting is usually the idea and then a real story that either I've experienced or a company that I've advised experienced. So it's very hands-on, very real world, not like these big ideas. It's very tactical. I like walking away from a presentation and go, all right, I got a checklist of 5 things I got to go do right now. That to me is the best way for me to learn, so I want to try to use that as well.
How do you enjoy WebExpo in Prague?
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I mean, so this is probably the oldest city I've ever been in my life, right? 1,000+ years, right? I mean, it's Canada is like only 100 and some years old, so that's where I'm originally from. So the city's awesome. The people here are great. Yesterday, I met with a lot of entrepreneurs. Today, I'm again meeting some entrepreneurs, and I just find like the challenges are the same. Like, it doesn't matter what part of the world you go to. What's interesting here is that the market is actually not that big, right? So when I talk to them and I say, okay, let's run through some guesses for numbers, size of market. You know, yesterday I ran some numbers with this one entrepreneur, and it's like, okay, so even if you execute on everything, total revenue is about $300,000 a year. That's not, you know, like, for most people, that's, wow, I'd love to make $300,000 a year. But if you're trying to do a tech startup, like, that's not not that big. So I just find that those are some of the challenges that are quite unique to Prague and to Czech that's interesting. But yeah, great conference so far.
What do you think? When will the startup bubble will pop up?
That's a great question. So, you know, I'm not sure if we're in a bubble, but it's in a boom, right? And I think there's a difference. You know, the amount of capital that was spent in 99, 2001 timeframe, somebody did the math, but the real high level was there was 3 times as much capital and only like 1.5 times the amount of companies invested in. So it meant per company there was a lot of capital, and now there's like, you know, 3 times as many companies created for half the amount of capital. So I'm not sure if we're in the same bubble. I do think it's a great time to raise money if you're an entrepreneur, especially in like the hot innovation place. If you're going to raise money, close it quick. You know, just looking at the markets and what's going on, I just have no faith. Personally, I love starting companies when there's a downturn in the economy. I started Flowtown in 2009. It's the best time to start a company if you're a serial entrepreneur, if you have capital that you can invest yourself, because recruiting people is the hardest thing. So like, if you try to start a company now and you want to recruit really smart engineers, good luck. They're either working on their own startup or they're getting paid a ridiculous amount of money at somebody else's company. It's really tough. So I say within the next 6 months we'll probably see a correction, but I don't think it's a bubble per se yet.